Hey HISD family, welcome back to HISD Cafe. Hope you guys had a wonderful break, but we're here in February and Black History Month, and we're starting it off with some biscuits today. But first, let me introduce our special guest. We have Miss Maya Nelson in the building. So she is a registered dietitian and also our special diets dietitian. So any of our students that have any special diet needs, she handles them for you. Isn't that right, Miss Maya?
Sure do.
All right, so we are making biscuits today. So for Black History Month, I want to highlight some African American chefs that I actually really love. And we're making Miss Carla Hall's perfect buttermilk biscuits.
That sounds good.
You know, everybody loves buttermilk biscuits. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I basically have all of my dry ingredients in the bowl. We're just gonna use our hands, clean hands here, and we're just gonna whisk it up. This is gonna be a very handsy recipe today. So we're just gonna mix everything up just like this.
Sounds good.
Now, to make it a little bit more nutritious, I actually did half wheat flour.
Okay.
I guess we're supposed to add a little bit more fiber, right?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna mix that up just like that. Everything is cold, so you kind of see that in my bowl, and everything is cold here. So I'm going to add in some of my vegetable shortening, once again, using the hands, because we're just gonna crumble it up to make it look like crumbs. Yes, yes, yes. Just like that. So once it looks like crumbs, you're good to go to the next step. All right. Now, one thing you want to do with this recipe, you actually want to work pretty quickly so you can keep everything as cold as possible. So one tip that she says in her recipe is to make sure that everything is super cold. So even if you need to keep it in the refrigerator or even pop it in the freezer right before you actually assemble your biscuits, do that. Okay. All right. So what's something that we can eat with our biscuits to make it a little nutrition for breakfast?
You can have it with a protein, and your protein can be sausage or bacon or eggs. Everybody likes eggs.
Okay, and then I usually try to add in some vegetables, right? Maybe put that in the egg scramble or the frittata that we taught y'all how to make a while back there.
Yes. Did your frittata have spinach?
Our frittata had spinach.
Okay, that's a normal breakfast food.
Yeah, we have mushrooms in there and all types of good ingredients.
Bell peppers are also good.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we're crumbling this up. So one step and one trick that Miss Carla Hall does for her butter is that she actually grades her butter, and that way the butter can be sprinkled throughout the flour mix, and that way you have an even coat of butter throughout the biscuits, and that's what makes them the perfect buttermilk biscuits, because you want fat everywhere. Okay, so once again, I'm trying to work as quickly as possible to make it look as crumbly as possible. Kind of like cornbread. Yes, I'm just working it in there. Moving real quick as possible. All right, so now that we have that, we're gonna add in our cold buttermilk. Since I'm using my hands, I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of that. We're not wasting any ingredients. Nope. All right, and then we start to fold this up. Make a nice dough. And then you see I kind of turned the bowl here to kind of help me mix the dough. Now your dough is gonna be a little wet, which is okay, because we're gonna knead it out in just a minute. All right, okay, so now that we have our dough, you see that it is kind of a wet dough here, but that's okay because we're gonna turn it out and we're going to knead it. So let me clean up my little station right here. Miss Maya, I will switch you. I will give you these. And can you hand me our next step?
Sure can.
So we're gonna knead out the dough. We're gonna add a little bit of our all-purpose flour to our surface here. Make sure your surface is nice and clean. And don't be stingy on the flour. If you need more flour, add more flour. Okay, we're gonna turn out our dough onto our cleaned surface. Just like that. I'm gonna need this bowl as well. Okay, so what I usually do to get this dough off is that I'll just kind of knead it with some of the flour. Add a little bit more flour to my hand. This is still perfectly good dough. Let me get that out there, and then let's start kneading it. Okay, so this is where you start to use your muscles. So those of y'all that are getting in the gym, y'all can make some biscuits and get some muscles too. Okay. So you see how wet the dough was? Now it's starting to shape up a bit here. And then what I do is I usually come to the side once I have a good amount of flour, because I don't want to put too much flour into the dough, but I don't want it to be sticky. Okay, I'll add a little bit more flour to my surface because we're gonna get ready to roll it. Roll it on out. Okay. All right. I think our dough looks good. Make sure there's flour on the surface. Got my rolling pin. Put a little flour on my rolling pin.
What's the purpose of putting it on your rolling pin?
So the dough doesn't stick. So if there's any pockets that doesn't have flour on the dough, it might stick to your pin, and then your pin gets all clumpy, and then your dough starts to catch, and then dough's everywhere.
Gotcha.
So you want your pin to be as dry as possible. So if you need to add a little bit more flour, then do so. Okay, so we're rolling it out to about a ½ inch or so. We want some big puffy biscuits. We don't want them to be all flat. They want them to be nice and puffy. Okay, so now that I have them rolled out, since it's Valentine's Day month, I have a little cute biscuit cutter here. One key step, butter your pan. This gives that nice crispy bottom, nice buttery bottom. Put this, stick the butter over there, and then get a little flour on this as well. And I usually start from the side to cut out my biscuits. And then get as close to the next cut. That way you don't have to keep rolling out the dough so many times. The more times you roll out the dough, the more flour you add and the more drier your biscuits are going to become. So, until you cut all your biscuits. All right. Okay, now that we have this sheet pan filled, we'll go ahead and pop these in the oven, 450 for about 8 to 10 minutes for these because they're miniature biscuits, but just kind of watch the biscuits. If you have bigger biscuits, of course, you'll need a lot more time. They just need to be golden and puffed up, and then they're ready to go. All right, y'all, we are back. We cleaned up everything. We got a little honey butter made, and we are ready to get these biscuits out of the oven. Let's do it. All right, let's see how we did. Oh yeah. Heart-shaped buttermilk biscuits, courtesy of Miss Carla Hall. Okay, so Miss Maya, are you ready to taste our delicious biscuits?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'll get one for you and one for me. We might need to let them cool down just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so while they're cooling down, or I might actually just dig in. While they're cooling down, tell us a little bit more about the importance of breakfast.
So breakfast really is the most important meal of the day. I know it sounds cliche, but it is true. Breakfast fuels your brain for school, it gives you energy, and it just helps you be the best you can be. So eat breakfast.
All right, well, we're gonna eat our breakfast right now.
Yes.
So you wanna try one with me? Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay. Yep, got that crispy bottom, flaky and gooey in the middle, the butter.
That's so good.
So good. Yes, okay. So we're gonna finish eating our biscuits. Happy Black History Month and happy Valentine's Day. Heart with the heart-shaped biscuits. Try this recipe, it's in the description below. Make sure you guys follow us on all of our social media platforms, and we are good to go.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time on HISD Cafe.